you are doing is contracting with them. Because if I didn't owe you any money and you're after me, but I said, look, here's a £5, yeah, you'll immediately say, ah, right, okay, you owe me that money. And this is exactly what they do. So you've got to realise that a verbal agreement with a debt collector is probably more enforceable than the unilateral one with the bank. Your debt, certainly for credit cards and a lot of loans, well, all contracts with corporations, but certainly with a credit card, that's an easy one to explain. When you actually, your contract with them is the application form. Well, you sign it, don't you? But they don't sign it. So it's what's called a unilateral contract. Not enforceable. Not enforceable. Not lawfully enforceable. So don't agree to pay them anything until they can prove to you that you actually owe them anything. I'll be doing questions at the end. So
sorry.
Yeah, that's right. But I will answer your questions at the end. And if you're really lazy, like I am, this is a brilliant one, and you can get a version of this on TPUC as well. No contract, return to sender. I do not recognise you, I do not understand your intent, it is not my will nor wish to contract. I do not have an international treaty with you, no assured value, no liability. Right. And what you do, you stick that, and you can open it, the envelope, find out what it is. I think, oh no, I don't want that one. Yeah, I've got no contract with them. So then you stick it back up with sellotape, stick that on the front, and send it back to them. And they know. The good thing about, now you can, if you're lazy, just write no contract, return to sender. But if you use one from a website, they know, oh shit, they're thinking, oh guys, no one get out debt free, or TPUC, because they've got a very similar one. So they know that that basically we're getting onto their sort of like their little games. And we also, I can't go into detail on this, but also on the website there's procedures for trademarking and copyrighting your name. Okay, and it's not too difficult, but it involves creating a stamp. But with the website, we haven't actually got this bit of the website going, but I've got my Webby sort of like, I'm chasing him on this. If you put your details into the website, it'll put your name, and it'll actually, what you'll do is put the document through your printer, and it'll put the stamp. You put your stamp on, so you put a stamp on it, and it'll put the copyright and the trademark printing over it. So it'll save you about 30–40 quid in rubber stamps. So that's something we're... Will
you be able to move that about so you can...
The idea is that you have it like an inch, so half an inch, no, an inch and a half in from the left, inch and a half in from the right. Or you basically run it through your printer first, work out where to put the stamp on, then run it through again.
Go over the stamps, so the stamp's crossed. Or
yeah. So it'll print on top. So you'll just have to make sure you don't smudge it, let it dry, and yeah, it just saves you money, and it makes it more simple. So, and it automatically puts your name in the little arc. And my poor Webby, he's actually got it up. We've just got to get it to work now, but he's done the work on it. It took him about 3 or 4 days to get your name to fit in an arc, and it was because it's basically it's not, you can't just Photoshop it. It's like it has to work in PHP code, and all very complex. So.
You've just thought this one's in uppercase and one is in
that's correct.
upper and lower. So
that's correct, because you're
copyrighting
copywriting your straw man. This is my understanding, yes, or my comprehension of it, and you're trademarking your uppercase, your fictitious entity, because I think that's a trade thing. So yeah. Now, what you do. Now, I'm breaking the rules here because I tried to put as little information on the slides as possible, but I did want to just read this, because you put in a fee schedule, because what you say to them is you have not proven any debt. If you sell the alleged liability, pass it back to your client and or appoint an agent to act on your behalf on this matter, you will have broken our agreement. This is after you've sent the 3 letters, and you will agree to pay the following fee schedule. And you've got a tacit agreement with them to do this. And so you start off with 3 times what they're claiming for dishonouring our agreement, £1,000 an hour or part thereof for of authorised representatives, nunc pro tunc, which is like works retroactively, can't say it, or part, and £1,000 per recorded delivery response. Also, any further contact is now not necessary. If, however, you deem it a need to contact me by phone or letter, the fee is £100 per item payable in advance. And you explain to them how to do this. And then you start invoicing them. Okay? So you send them an invoice. And this is all on the website. And yeah, if you don't mind, sir. Yeah. But what is great is that I'd seen Mescalito on my forum, and I'd seen him been doing a lot of really good work. And then suddenly I'd done an interview with Ben Lowry, and he's interviewing some really good people. And then suddenly Seth turns up on it. So don't believe everything I say. You know, when other people come and do it, I think it's brilliant.
We've all been on Ben Lowry.
So during the time you've been active on Jon Witterick's website, and you've been implementing some of his methods or his templates or whatnot, and so what's actually happened? You've managed to make these debt collectors go away or leave your election or something, have you? What's happened exactly?
Okay, well, the first step was £2.5 grand, and that was with HSBC, where it was Midlands back in the day, wasn't it? But of course, HSBC. And they passed it on to a debt collectors called CL Limited, and I was paying them £5 a month through CCCS, the charity that helps you pay off debt. And then I thought, well, I don't see why I should have to pay this, because I've discovered that the credit's created on my signature.
Right.
And didn't loan me anything. And so I fired off the first notice to HSBC and CL Finance Limited, that's it. And served the free notice on HSBC, and they didn't interact with me at all, I suppose because it had been with CL Finance for so many years that they just thought it's nothing to do with us anymore, we've got our money out of it, we don't care. So CL Finance Limited, you know, it's funny how the debt collectors say, oh, you're using a template, but they're sending out their generic templates anyway, aren't they? So, and first of all, they try blagging that none of this is appropriate for the UK and it's all American, but clearly it isn't. Bills of Exchange is UK. And after I'd served the free notices on them, they passed it to a solicitor. I did the same thing with them, and that's it. That's the last I heard of them, and that was a year ago. And then the second debt was with NatWest, which was a more recent debt. I say recent, it was over 6 years ago at least, or possibly longer. And I did the free notices again, and passed it on to a debt collectors, served the notice on them, and that's been a fight throughout the year. And so far I've got through 5 debt collectors and a solicitor actually with the NatWest debt, but it's always the same. Get a letter saying, we've closed our file and you won't be hearing from us again, la-di-da.
So they actually write to you to say they've given up, kind of thing, do they?
Yeah, well, what I started to do with amending it in the terms, with a debt collector, I was saying, as you're trying to claim an unapproved debt, you agree to take on NatWest liability of around £7.5 grand, which was like 3 times the original debt because they didn't prove it. And some of them would just shit themselves at the sight of that liability, and with it, after the first notice, send me a letter saying, oh, we've closed our file, if you need any help please contact us, and that was it. Others have tried to go back and forth and get me to pay up saying we made, and then there's all these mays and buts and you just read that and you think, well, if you was gonna, you would have said you are, and you would have done it by now, you know.
So there we go. Round of applause. Excellent. So yeah. So what I would say, general rules. Running a little bit behind time, so I'll just finish off this first little bit. Always be truthful. There's no point lying. What we're trying to do is set a precedent for them. Okay, so there's no point. We don't have to lie. We can be honest. They're deceitful. They have to lie. Always respond politely, because you know there's no point. You know they're human beings. They're our brothers and sisters that we're working with. Always act honourably. I think it's always nice if you respond to them and don't just ignore them, and act lawfully. Well, all this is within the common law, and don't be greedy. It'd be very easy, knowing what we know, to go out and get loads of credit cards, make loads of money out of this, and go and buy lots and lots of things.